Hey everybody, welcome back to the RGR channel. This is Daniel Harms, and Week 17 allowed the Chiefs to get a lot of their young, inexperienced players on the field, a lot of those on defense. And one of the guys that I really wanted to talk about was Tim Ward. I think he's going to be a guy that can be a depth piece for the Chiefs in the postseason, and I think that he's a guy that can also continue to only improve his game and get on the field and be an actual cog in this defense that Steve Spagnuolo loves to trade out guys, and he can play on the inside. He can play on the outside. He's got that body type of an Emmanuel Ogba, Frank Clark, all these big defensive ends. He's also got the speed to keep up with them in terms of power, speed to power. So I liked being able to watch him in this game. And that's what we're going to go ahead and talk about today. So if you're new, make sure you hit that like, the sub, and the bell notification just so we're all on the same page with everything that Ryan and I and the entire team at RGR bring you every single week. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with something actually a little bit funny here. If you notice Tim Ward down at the right side of the screen here. I'm not trying to take shots or anything, but I think I may have discovered a secret identity of Tim Ward's. And I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but it is kind of funny to watch him scrape across the offensive line here. And if you just pause it ever so quickly right here, he looks like he's a Bigfoot. And that's just because he's such a big guy trying to keep himself low in case anyone cuts back on the other side. But it's just kind of something that I wanted to show you guys because I think it was pretty funny to watch. And I do apologize, Tim, if I outed you as Bigfoot, but that's just kind of the way that it is. So let's go ahead and keep rolling with the tape here. Now, Tim Ward is a very big-bodied guy. He's got long arms. He's got some speed to him. He's also got to work on his pass rush. You're going to see him down here at the left side of your screen. This is something that a lot of young players have to deal with in terms of their pass rush plan. You don't want to see a lot of getting stuck in what they're doing. And what you see from Tim Ward here is unfortunately a lot of that, but it's not all his fault. He's still young. He's still learning his craft here. And let's go ahead and stop it here. So when you're trying to get by an offensive lineman, you obviously have one move that's your go-to. That's the one thing you want to start with. And he is a guy that has a lot of that speed to power. But when you get stuck, you want to be able to continue to counter. So he tries to push off and get underneath, but the tackle here stonewalls him. So you can see that he's got the tackle's hand up here on his left side of his helmet. The right arm is here. So now he's kind of stuck. So he's got his left arm in the chest of the left tackle, and he's trying to push him upfield. And he doesn't actually do anything else after that. You want to really see him get his hands continue to move and move your body around and around. And that's something that he doesn't do a lot of yet. And, like I said, as a young player, it's difficult to really harness that pass rush plan. But you see guys like Chris Jones who comes in flying. He's got his hands moving a bunch. He's able to get his body in different angles. And Tim Ward is just going to have to realize that his body and his arms have a lot of things that they can do. And you're going to have to go to your counters and your long arms and your rips underneath and your swim moves and everything like that. Spin moves, everything is going to be in your arsenal going forward as a defensive end. It's something that he's obviously got the ability to do. So he's going to have that time, I think, going into the postseason as well as in the offseason to work on that pass rush plan. Now, let's go ahead and go forward here. Tim Ward is down here. And one of the things that I really like about Tim Ward is that he's a versatile player. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's one of those guys that Steve Spagnuolo can really do a lot of things with. He can drop him into coverage like you're going to see right here. And he still has the ability to be flexible enough within the coverage to do the things you're asking him to do. So he does a good job of dropping into coverage and really using that within 5 yards rule to attack the guy running his route. But the big thing I wanted to take away from this is we're going to take a little detour and look at Deandre Baker. Now, obviously, we all know that he's going to be having his issues with that broken femur, but it was a good prognosis. He's already had a surgery, so we're looking at him possibly being ready for training camp next year. That's a huge, huge addition to this Chiefs secondary because I think that he is a guy you can count on going forward as another type of lockdown corner. On the other side, you got Snead and you've got Baker. I think those are two guys that they're young and they fit this type of defense. So let's watch him go through this play against Mike Williams on the outside, a guy who's a physical receiver and a veteran, so he knows what he's doing against all types of corners. He's really got one thing that he does, and it's try to win at the point of attack, go up and get the football. But you're going to see Baker to do a really good job of keeping his base under him and attacking within that 5 yards here, getting his hands on him and not allowing Williams to separate to the inside. He does a very good job of reading the receiver, going through what he's doing, and now he's in the attack mode, and he's currently screwing up the timing between Williams and the quarterback, Herbert. That's the one thing a lot of these throws are predicated on is timing. If you can throw that off to a guy who doesn't create a lot of separation himself, that is all you need to do to be in the perfect position to make a play. And he almost comes away with the interception here because he does a great job of deflecting the football and then finding it as it's being deflected. That's something you don't see a whole lot from young guys. It's the reason that he was such a top flight, a first round draft pick from the Giants 2 years ago. So again, he's going to be someone hopefully we can see a part of this defense going forward. And I think that he's going to be another cog in this defense. You get these young, productive guys. I think that's a really good thing that they're doing. Now back to Tim Ward. We took that little detour. He's going to be on the outside end here. And I just want you to kind of watch what he does in terms of a speed standpoint. Then we're going to go back through and break it down. My apologies, guys. I accidentally hit the wrong button. So here we go. So now he's going to cut right down and force Kalen Ballage to make a move. Now, this doesn't seem like a big play, but I want you to notice a couple things. The one thing that he does well, if you notice right here, the splits between the center and the guard and the tackle are all pretty much the same distance. Then you see the tackle and the tight end, and you have a pretty good another foot and a half between the two. Now, what their Chiefs are going to do is they're going to bring Deandre Baker down here on the edge, and that's going to allow Ward to get into this gap because he doesn't have to worry about outside contain. So he's going to use his speed to get through that gap widened by the splits from the tight end to the tackle, and he's going to make a play on the football. Now, yeah, he doesn't make the tackle right here, but when you force the running back to do something behind the line of scrimmage, that allows your defensive playmakers to get around the football. You've got two guys in Deandre Baker and Mike Dana who are free, and they have the opportunity now to go get the football. But not only does Ward, he does get pushed down to the ground just because of where he was running and using his speed and momentum against him. But what we're going to see after is that determination and grit to get up off the ground, find the football, and continue to go after it and try to get him. I like that kind of go after the football, jump back up and get it and do what you got to do. He's definitely a guy who uses his motor well, and I like to see the speed coming off the edge here as an added bonus because the Chiefs don't have a whole lot of speed to power guys. K-Pass is really the only speed guy they have, and he has not taken that next step from his pass rush standpoint. So Ward's a guy who's younger, and he has the tools to become a guy that you can trust in the pass rush game, the run game as well. So again, just showing that little flash of speed is exactly what I'm looking for in a bigger guy. Now you got Tim Ward up here. This is his only sack and his very first sack of his NFL career that we're about to watch. So I want you to just kind of see how he's about to go through this. And he times this jump absolutely beautifully. And that puts him in the prime position to come away with this sack. Unfortunately, I was unable to get the end zone view because he was cut off in it. So we have to deal with this. But what you're going to see here from Tim Ward is when you time that jump perfectly, it forces the offensive guard or tackle, or whoever is blocking him. In this case, it's a tight end, to overset. So he's got to get out wider now because you have done such a good job of jumping on that snap. Everson Griffin is a guy who used this a lot last year against Cam Irving, and he was very successful in it. He's one of those guys that knows the snap counts of a lot of different quarterbacks, so he times that perfectly. So you're going to see him just lean forward slightly, and that's going to force this tight end to, like I said, make that extra angle outside. And now what that does is allow Ward to use his speed to get back inside because of the gap you've now created. This is something I'd like to see Frank Clark do a bit more of. He's a very outside rusher at this point, and if he can start to widen them and come back to inside like this and get back to quarterbacks, you're going to see him get more sacks more quickly, which is really the most important part about Frank Clark's game, stepping up that next level. Another thing I want you just to watch here is the grip strength from Tim Ward. Now, this is something that is not easy to do. That Justin Herbert's a very big physical quarterback. He's still very maneuverable in the pocket. He can get outside and make plays, but the hand strength to not only grip the quarterback that size when he's moving the opposite direction and you're being pushed the other way, it's very impressive to see. And you don't see a lot of guys get sacks based off of their grip strength. So this is something else that he's got in his repertoire as well. He's got really, really strong hands, and you like to see that, getting those legs underneath him wrapped around the quarterback. It's fun to watch him play the position because I think that he's got a lot of different tools that are accessible in this type of defense. Now we're going to see him in the run game, which is really to really final blot this out here. He is, we've mentioned, a very powerful defensive end. Now, being able to set a firm edge is very important in this defense, and that's something that I think that he's going to bring to the table, as you just watched. And if we look at the two guys on this side of the defensive line, in Ward and Wharton, these two guys can really make an impact together because they're both powerful, athletic, and they have speed to go with it. So what you're aiming to do as a defensive end is obviously not to allow anybody to get outside here. You want the running back to have the force to come inside. You don't want him going outside. Obviously, with speed, you can then force everyone to get to the edge, and it's easier to make guys miss when you're running full speed to the edge and they've got to come get you. So one thing you want to notice after he sets the edge, he's going to locate the football. And then that's when you can really see him make his play. He shoves off the tackle quickly, and then he's able to close on the running back for the tackle. The strength to do what he does in a matter of seconds is very impressive, and I like to see him do these things on the football field. It was really nice to see him in this game because, like I've mentioned multiple times now, I do believe that he's got a lot of potential, and there's a reason that he's been on the practice squad the last 2 years. And I think that this is a perfect opportunity for them to get him in the postseason, much like they got Damone Harris in the postseason last year. This is an opportunity to get a guy who's got some really top flight upside, in my opinion, snaps in the postseason. And he's going to do a lot of good things, I think, for this team. And he's a guy who's got, like I said, a lot of speed, power, and just enough to do in this defense that can really make a difference. You start to get young guys like Mike Dana, Tershawn Wharton, now Tim Ward, all involved. And I think that you're really starting to get something going here. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this inside look at Tim Ward. I think he's going to be impactful in the defense for a few years to come now. And I really hope that he takes that next step that we haven't seen K-Pass take. That's the one thing that it's going to be missing and really important for him to make it in this defense to take that next step. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a great night. I really want you guys to put in the comments everything you want to see going forward. We're going to be into the postseason here shortly. So anything you guys want to see, go ahead and comment down below. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.